bows, one after the other, in keeping with their rank within the Holy Royal Council. His Excellency Don Rutilio Toro Mendoza, Archbishop of Palermo, Don Giustino Aliquo, Prince of Ficarazzi and Grand Captain of Justice, Don Alterio Pignato, Duke of Baticani, Chief Treasurer, Don Severino Lomascio, Marquis of Roccalumera, Judge of the Monarchy, Don Arcangelo Laferla, Count of Naso, Admiral of the Fleet, and Don Cono Giallombardo, Baron of Pachino, Grand Master of Administration. Then the protonotary, Don Gerlando Musumara, came in, followed by the Secretary of the Council, Don Ernesto Rute. At this point the two ushers went to inform the Viceroy's chief chamberlain that all the councillors were present and standing at attention, waiting for His Excellency, Don Angel, behind the closed door, to make his entry. By now it was 9:30. When the Viceroy, Marquis Don Angel de Guzmàn, first landed at Palermo almost 2 years earlier, he had surprised everyone for 2 reasons. The first was his young age, since he hadn't yet reached 30, and no Sicilian could remember there ever having been a viceroy less than 50 years old. The second was his extreme thinness. Don Angel didn't have an ounce of fat on him. His skin clung directly to his bones. He must have weighed at the very most barely 100 pounds. A strong gust of wind would have sent him flying through the air like a dry leaf. He had come to Palermo alone, but was joined 1 month later by his wife, Donna Eleonora di Mora, who was Spanish but from a Sicilian family and had been orphaned at the age of 10. Upon the death of her parents, she'd been shut up in a convent where she was educated, learning Italian among other things, and did not emerge until she was engaged. Don Angel and Eleonora were newlyweds, in that they'd been married only 3 months before. Word quickly spread that Donna Eleonora was 25 years old, and so beautiful it was frightening, though nobody had had any reason to be afraid because nobody had actually been able to see her. Indeed, ever since her arrival, Donna Eleonora had remained holed up in the private section of the palace, in the care of the 4 chambermaids she had brought with her from Spain. A month after his wife's arrival, however, Don Angel had begun to change radically before the astonished and increasingly dismayed eyes of the court. The phenomenon initially took the form of an extremely rapid fattening of the Viceroy's belly, and only his belly, so that Don Angel, with the rest of his body still gaunt, looked exactly like a woman 9 months pregnant. But the fatness then quickly spread to his arms, legs, and feet. Lastly, it attacked his face. Once a crescent moon, it became a full moon. In less than 6 months, Don Angel weighed over 200 pounds, and 6 months after that he was at 300. Lately he seemed to have stabilized at 400. An elephant. And there had been no way to arrest the phenomenon. The court physician, Don Serafino Gustaloca, during repeated examinations, prodded here and prodded there, gave out medicines galore, administered leeches and enemas, and in the end abandoned hope and threw up his hands. And even a great Spanish doctor, a font of science sent expressly by King Carlos, ended up doing the same. Even after fasting for a whole week, without drinking so much as a drop of water, the Viceroy kept getting bigger and bigger, like a pig being fatted. The court tailor, Artemio Savateri, quickly got very rich and had to take on 4 helpers because he had to remake the Viceroy's wardrobe from scratch every week. At 9:35, the door was thrown open, and Don Angel's 2 personal manservants, who had helped him to get dressed, handed the Viceroy over to the 2 ushers. Foti and Michique took him by the arms, and Don Angel, leaning up.